Hello, book lovers. I am your host, Kim Oglesby, book marketing coach and founder of LiteracyMoments magazine's Books, Blessings, and Business podcast. Join us as we explore the magic of books, the blessings that enrich our lives, and the strategies that fuel thriving businesses. Together, let's navigate a journey where stories and blessings and business wisdom converge. Welcome to a podcast where literature meets the blessings and business flourish. We are so excited to share that we have a new website for Black Authors Association members launching on November 15th. This website will be filled with resources, events, grant, marketing tips, and so much more. You can get exclusive information by becoming a member of the Black Authors Association. Visit our group for details or just email us at LiteracyMoments@gmail.com. Before we dive into our main interview with author Dani, who wrote a book called Pretty Little Bastard Child, one of the authors from Black Authors Association submitted a marketing question to us. And our question of the night is, how do you identify your target audience? Well, that is actually a good question. And, identifying your targeted audience is critical for being effective in marketing, as you're going to be it allows you to tailor your content and outreach strategies to people who most likely are interested in your book. This process involves understanding your demographics, preferences, and behavior of your potential readers. So it's really important to identify your targeted audience. So one of the tips I want to give tonight is, making sure that you have defined your book's genre and theme. And what do I mean by that? Is categorizing your book in a genre. Like, what genre does your book fit? Is it romance? Is it fantasy? Is it mystery, self-help? Or is it a combination of a couple of genres? And that's okay. You can have that as well. But make sure you categorize your book in the correct genre to make sure that it meets the correct targeted audience. And then also, after you did that, you want to identify key themes in your book. Is your book about love? Is it a book about adventure? Is it a book about friendship, grief? What makes it appeal to a particular group of readers? So that's my first tip for tonight. My second is utilizing social media insights. It's great to post things on social media, but you want to look at some of the analytical tools that Facebook and Instagram and Twitter it offers you. Sometimes you can look at your analytics and you can see the different patterns of engagement or demographics that are actually looking at your book. So you want to definitely take a little deep dive into that. For example, if you're observing prominent interest of a diverse character, an inclusion of a story from your target group that you are a part of, you may want to emphasize that in your marketing efforts. But my third tip is, you're not the first one, honestly, to have written in this genre. So do some research on competing titles in this same genre. Look at books similar to yours in terms of genre and theme, and then look at their readership. Look and see who's reading their books, who's reviewing their books, who's sharing their books on social media. You can utilize platforms like Goodreads, Amazon, and social media to see who is discussing these books and what they're saying. So those are my 3 tips for the marketing and how to identify your targeted audience. And I hope those tips do help you as well. I will be posting that information on our Facebook group, and also that's going to be something that you will find once you become a member of the Black Authors Association and also a member of LiteracyMoments magazine's website. So as always, I'm going to pull a book off the shelf, and this evening it's by author Dr. AudreyAnn Moses. She has an organization called Never Say Can't. It's a Christian life. She's a Christian life coach and a consultant. She's going to talk a little bit about her books and some of the themes, and I hope you enjoy them. So here's Dr. AudreyAnn Moses.
Hello, my name is Dr. AudreyAnn Moses, and I am the CEO of Never Say Can't Christian Life Coaching Consultant. I am also an award winning author, and I am a Christian life coach, and I enjoy working with people. I enjoy writing about how people can help themselves to do better and be better and to move forward in their life. In my books, I try to make sure that I include emotional, physical, psychological, and spiritual issues dealing with the relationships that we have with ourselves and with others and with God. And so my books are fiction, but I know you will enjoy reading them because they talk about everyday life and things that people go through on a daily basis. And I'm sure you will find yourself, your Uncle John, your Auntie Susie, or whoever in them. And you will see that a lot of things that we go through in life emotionally can be resolved by allowing ourselves to see where we are and what we need to do to improve them. And most importantly, allowing ourselves to see how God can help us. So I invite you to reach out to me at any time. Never Say Can't Christian Life Coaching Consulting. You can find me on Google. You can find me on social media. You can find me at Never Say Can't Christian Life Coaching Consultant. My website is transitionlifecoach4u.com, and it's the number 4 and the letter U. Thank you very much, and be blessed, and I look forward to hearing from you.
All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining Books, Blessings, and Business. Tonight we have Danielle Dani Matthews, author of Pretty Little Bastard Child. She's going to talk about her book and some other great things that's going on. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's jump right in. This title, got to tell us what this book about, and we're going to dive right into it. Pretty Little Bastard Child.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, okay. First of all, good evening, everyone. Good afternoon, wherever you're at. I hope your day is going well. I'm author Dani, and the title of the book is Pretty Little Bastard Child. And for those of us who are, I want to say about 40, 45 and older, the elders back in the day, if you had a baby out of wedlock, that child was automatically a bastard child. So my mother had myself and my brother. She was never married. And it was 2 different fathers attached to 2 different children. So right off the bat, my house was a lot of dysfunction, But my grandparents, her parents, make no mistake, did not allow her to forget that she had these 2 bastard children in here. And so when I was thinking about, the title for my book, and I thought long and hard. I wanted to try to make it politically correct. I was thinking about, oh, well, do I really want to be all up in their face, like pow, like that? And I said, you know what, Dani? You're self-published. There's like 50,000 million gazillion of y'all out there. Yes, you want to be up in their face like pow. Yeah. So, when I thought about title and, then I thought about age, I thought about date of birth because it's a memoir. So, but then I thought about it and I said, well, I was a bastard child. And I've always been, told that I was a pretty little girl. So I said, pretty little bastard child. Pretty little bastard child, that's it. So yeah, that's how it came into fruition. So yeah.
So in your bio, you wrote, your trauma is not your fault, but your healing is your responsibility. Tell
Hmm.
us a little bit about that. What does that mean?
Well, first and foremost, it's a slogan that I made, actually waiting for copy trademark. Uh, because my t-shirts, I have t-shirts, Pretty Little Bastard Child has become a movement, or as the young people say, my brand. Um, so it's Pretty Little Bastard Child on the front, and a pretty little girl, and then on the back it's in quotation. Your trauma is not your fault, but your healing is your responsibility. Well, my trauma is not my fault, but my healing is my responsibility. And it's kind of self-explanatory, but people don't understand that, you know, I like to go back to, because I am no longer, I'm a former substance abuse and mental health counselor.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of our training came from, the Freudian theory, Sigmund Freud. And he put it real simple. Most of the stuff, specifically good and bad, okay? Everything that you learn from motor skills and everything moving forward from the ages of 1 through 5, that's when you learn how you become your little personality develops. You
Mm-hmm.
learn how to speak, you learn how to talk, you learn how to listen, you learn how to lie, you learn all of those things that you learn how to do,
Right.
you learn or someone teaches you
Mm-hmm.
between the ages of 1 and 5, right?
Right.
So in my household, again, and this is my memoir. There was a lot of dysfunction going on. So not only was there dysfunction, but the majority of the trauma that followed me through my life, I experienced it in those young ages.
Oh, wow.
Between 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I learned how to distrust by being shown that I couldn't trust people around me.
Right.
Now, that wasn't my fault,
Mm-hmm.
right? But in order for me to finally learn that, you can't go around bleeding out on people that didn't cut you, I had to realize that in order to live a healthy life, in order to live a happy life, in
Right.
order to finally find some peace, my healing I am responsible for,
Right.
though I wasn't responsible for the hurt that caused me years of distrust and, drug addiction and, those other things that we do. Some people take it out in sex addiction. Some people take it out in overeating. Some people take it out in, becoming a gambler or spending, or, they look outside of their stuff for stuff to make them feel better about the stuff that they stuff so deep down inside of
Right.
pain for years. And a lot of it, most of it, them people who did it to you is dead and in their grave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we sitting here all jacked up and it wasn't our fault, but we haven't chose to heal from it.
Right.
Well, I believe the other way. If you choose to have eventually, if you choose to have somewhat of a good life, you have to heal. And
Mm-hmm.
your healing is up to you. Your healing is your responsibility. So yeah. Mhm.
So tell me a little bit of why you thought, it was so important to really kind of do your book now. What made you say, okay, it's time for me to share my story?
Mm, okay. Well, it took me 18 years to birth my book.
Okay.
Yeah, I wrote the first 10 pages of my manuscript back in 2005. And
Okay.
then life started lifing, and career change, relationship change, this went on, that went on, you know, um life again. Yeah, it was lifing. So every time I said, okay, I'm going to do it now. This year's the year. My New Year's resolution, I'm going, yeah, this is the year.
Mm-hmm.
Something would happen. And I couldn't find the time, or I the thrill was gone, or whatever. So Again, it took 18 years to finally, there was a long labor, baby. But when I finally birthed it, it was birthed. And what so happened was, um, with all of the stuff that started happening with the Weinsteins, the Harvey Weinstein stuff, and the Bill Cosby stuff, and the, R. Kelly stuff, and all of this stuff going on, and women still, and I realized that a lot of the women that were finally opening up about their trauma were women of my age or a certain age that had been walking around all of this time and cutting, right? Using, not dealing, right? And bleeding out all over people that didn't cut them.
Right.
Not realizing, I literally asked a friend one day, I said, do you ever smile? I said, and the sad part about it is you have a beautiful smile. Why don't you ever smile?
Right.
That's my face. I'm like, but excuse my French, that's a resting bitch face. You do know that, right? Like that's your normal creases in the forehead, like grimace all over your face, like you're in pain every day.
Right.
And then it dawned upon me, she's in so much pain that she doesn't realize that she's in pain every day.
Right.
So it came to the point where I had experienced some things. I got clean and sober in 1989. I stayed clean for 20 years and then I relapsed. And I had a very painful, very, very shameful relapse. It took me 5 years to get back into recovery. But during that time, what I realized was I was talking the talk. I even did do some of the healing and some of the work. My mother got to see me clean before she passed away. However, I didn't, it's like, okay, it's like this, right? You got a pimple, right?
Right.
So you keep poking at it, you keep picking at it, you squeeze it, boom, you get the top.
Right.
But until you get that core, until you feel that pop and you get that gush and that whole core comes out, that bump's going to keep, the head's going to keep coming, head's going to keep coming, head's going to keep coming. And it's just going to be hurting. But until you get the core of where that pain is coming from, it's not going to heal. It's not going to go away. It's not going to scar. It's not going to scab. It's not going to do nothing until you get to the core.
Right.
So that was it. It was, I realized that I was running around here and I was, lying to myself and I was, being mean to people who had nothing to do with what was going on with me. It was me, and I needed to heal. I needed to feel so I could deal, so I could heal. So, I moved 2022 and 90 days later, my back imploded and I had to have major spinal surgery. Wow. But during that time of moving, I had found my manuscript. And I was like, wow, this is deep. Like I said, 18 years.
Yeah.
The pages weren't frayed. It hadn't run. It had nothing. And they were all intact. So then, bam, I'm working on this promotion. I'm healing. I'm moving to another state. Now here's something else. Another reason why I can't write, right?
Right.
But God said, no, 90 days after moving, I couldn't work. And I had to have, when I tell you major surgery, like I had to learn how to walk all over again. So like I was sitting in my house, like about to lose my mind, like, oh my God, where's the money, going to come from? Like, oh Lord, I know you didn't bring me down this far to let me go. Right.
Right.
And guess what falls out of a box that I hadn't unpacked? A manuscript. Right? I was like, oh, and I just bust out in shouting and crying and praising God because I got it. I understood the assignment. Yeah. God was saying, look, I got this for you. Just move out of the way and listen.
Yeah.
So I was sitting still and I had nothing else that I could do but sit still. And during that time, Pretty Little Bastard Child was birthed finally.
Wow. So as you was going through your journey, do you remember, I know you had some difficult things that you had to remember. How was forgiveness important through the process?
Well, first of all, people seem to for some strange reason, I can forgive, but I can't forget. I ain't never gonna forget it. Well,
Right.
yeah, okay. But if you're truly going to forgive someone or forgive something, that is the true definition of grace, right? When I'm
Mhm.
showing you grace, I'm forgiving you, not for you.
Right.
I'm forgiving you for me. Because
Right.
until I truly forgive something, right, I
Mhm.
can't heal from it.
That's true.
You know, if I'm running around and I'm still holding on, come on, I forgave it, but I ain't gonna never forget what you did. Why? Why? How about letting it go? And part of
Yeah.
letting go is forgetting it. Okay, I forgave it. Now,
Right.
guess what? I'm throwing it in the sea of forgetfulness so I can move on. You know, I have a saying that I use, right? And people crack up, but I want you to think about it. I'm getting ready to give you a scenario, right?
Mm-hmm.
Holding on to a resentment or not forgiving is like peeing on yourself. Think about it. You ready?
Uh-huh.
I might be walking towards you and I see that wet stain in your pants, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could see it, right?
Yeah,
But who feels it?
you do. Yep.
Bam. There you go. Ain't nobody gonna feel it but me if I keep holding on to it.
That's true. That is true.
So how do you grow? How do you heal? You can't because you're not letting go for enough time to actually heal from
Mm-hmm.
it.
So you said when you moved, you found the manuscript, and now it's a memoir. Were you scared? Was there any like, am I going? It was any doubt? Like, okay, I'm about to tell this story. All my business about to be out here. Oh my goodness, am I ready for this? Am I sure?
Mhm.
Like, how did you clear your mind? Be like, I'm just gonna do this.
Well, yes, and part of like I said, it took 18 years. Part of that was fear. Oh, what are they
Right,
going to think about? You know, these are secrets. You know, and there's a
right.
part in my intro where where I talk about my family had a lot of secrets. You know,
Mm-hmm.
back in the day, it was like, you better not let the outside know what's going on behind
That
my
is
closed doors.
true. Yes, was in the house stays in the house.
I wish you would go out there and tell somebody what's going on in my house.
Yes,
You know,
I heard
so
that.
right, kids were to be what? Seen and not heard. And the
Mm-hmm.
only time you were supposed to be heard is if somebody spoke to you.
That's
And
right.
at that point, you say, hello, Mr. or Miss So and so, and you keep it stepping.
Yep.
And you go in your room or you go wherever your parent told you that's where you're supposed to be at because I got company. And that was
Mm-hmm.
that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we learned how to do what? Hold a lot of secrets.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my grandfather was a dysfunctional, he was a functional alcoholic,
Mm.
right? My mother didn't drink, my grandmother didn't drink, but they were busy cleaning up his mess, all the time. And that was one of the dirty little secrets that went on behind closed doors, what was going on with me. Those were one of the dirty little secrets that, went on behind closed doors, right? And so I didn't write my book because of the fear of what they might think or what they might say.
Right.
But every time I had something going on, or every time I had surgery, or every time I lost a job, or every time something went down, and then COVID hit, and I had a mild heart attack, COVID, and cancer all
Mm.
within a year.
Oh wow.
And those people that I was worried about what they might feel or how they going to think about me when I go letting out these family secrets, didn't buy me a bag of groceries.
Mm.
So guess what? I no longer gave a rat's behind what they thought about it. Because you could do good, people are going to talk about you.
Right.
You could do bad, people are going to talk about you. I was clean for 20 years, people talked about me. When I relapsed, people talked about me. I got clean again, people are going to talk about it.
Right.
They talk about Jesus Christ. So
Yeah.
for those who believe in the Jesus in the Trinity, they talked about Jesus. Right. So what makes me any better? You
Right.
know, you say whatever you want to say. No longer was I afraid
Yeah. That's
because
important.
it's my story and it's
Yeah.
my truth.
Right.
And in a memoir, that's what you do. And there's all kinds of parameters put in place that publishing companies have to go through before they allow you to publish certain things, right?
Right.
So I told my story.
It's
I ain't
important.
telling nobody else's story, but my story.
Yeah.
So no longer with no more fear. No more
That's
fear.
that's awesome.
You know.
So how has this journey as being an author been for you?
Well, I've always written. I've always I didn't go serious. I didn't go hard. I didn't go all in until this.
Right.
But years ago in the 90s, I was a independent recording artist and I wrote my own lyrics.
Okay.
As a youngster, I wrote poetry. I was always had a pen in my hand somewhere. Um, that was my way to escape, to write, you know. And I come from that. I went to private school as a kid, so you got in trouble. You might have to write 500 or 1,000 times, which you're no longer going to do.
Oh yeah, I remember those
So,
days.
oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and I always liked, there was no Google and none of that. It was encyclopedias, dictionaries, atlases, and all of that good stuff. And you went and you looked it up and you wrote about it.
Right.
So, I was always really good with grammar and usage and, diction and all of that good stuff. And English was always one of my favorite subjects. Those Saturday morning cartoons, conjunction,
Oh,
junction,
you
what's
taking it way
your
back. Yeah.
junction? Yeah. Yeah. A noun, a verb, an adjective, all of that stuff, it excited me. It made me feel good when, I would win a spelling bee or I used a big word in a sentence or, and it kept my mother off my behind too. So anything to hear less of her, degrading me or kicking me in the behind about something, because in my book, people will find out, I looked and I acted just like my dad, and she had a terrible disdain for my father because of, the way the story went. So she looked at me, she saw him, and that made her upset, of course.
Right.
So anything I did, if it was, I could try my best to do good. It was never good enough for her. So when I said, I'll show you, I'll hurt me, and I started messing up, it was attention. It wasn't the best attention,
Right.
but nevertheless, now you got a reason to cuss me or to punish me or to, do whatever you're going to do. But writing, when I would get punishment, I would go in my room and I'd write and I'd make these short stories up and I would fantasize and write it down or I would write a poem. So yeah, but when I started taking it seriously was when I decided, okay, look, come what may, I'm going to write this thing and I'm going to move forward in, one of my first loves, which is writing. And it's been crazy. It's taken on a life of its own. Um, this is volume one of a 3-part series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just released my second book, which is an anthology with 8 other women. It's called The Love Language of Grief. And
Nice.
yeah, we all share about different versions of getting to that sweet spot, that happy place after losing a loved one or losing whatever because all of us have different stories of grief.
Right.
And people think that grieving just has to deal with death, and it doesn't. You
Mm-mm.
know, you grieving has to deal with love and then loss.
Right.
And having learning how to get to that place where you find the beauty in the fact that you're grateful that you loved, that you
Yeah.
learned, that you knew.
Yeah.
But how do I live without that now? How do I live without them now?
Right.
You find a way, and I think Barbara Streisand said it years ago. People who need people are some of the luckiest people in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
we're all going to grieve, right? At one
Right.
day or another, at one time, about something or another, right? It could be losing a job. It could be losing that love of your life. It could be to death. It could be to a breakup, a divorce, whatever it is, right? But
Mm-hmm.
then you realize that you do need people to get through this.
That's true. That's so true.
And we become such a unique group of
Mm-hmm.
people because then you have to, and this is why people who need people are the luckiest people in the world. Because when you realize that no man is an island and
Yeah.
no man lives alone, you learn how to reach out because now you need
Yeah.
someone, you need a person. And then that's where the luck comes in at.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you've learned how to reach out and say, I need you, I need some help, I'm going through this, then
Right.
you become that person who is what? Exalted. You're lifted up in prayer. You're lifted up in positive thought. People know that you're going through something, so now they can reach out to you. And
Right.
then the beauty about being the luckiest person in the world is now you got support.
Yeah. That's important. That is so important. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So what do you have coming up next? I know you've been busy over the summer, so what's coming up for you next?
Oh my God, I went on a mini tour.
Yeah.
A couple of different states. We had launches. Right now I'm finishing up. Again, like I said, my second offering just came out. Love Language of Grief. We're promoting that. I am slowly but surely getting to the last couple of chapters of Pretty Little Bastard Child Searching, Volume
Oh,
2.
wow.
So
Wow.
that'll be out prayerfully. Because I have stuff going on, I'm trying to set myself a deadline because I'll be like, oh, okay, no, I gotta give myself a deadline. So,
Right.
um, by mid-September, I will be sending my volume 2 off for publishing and printing.
Okay.
So, by fall, volume 2 will be out. As we speak, I am pulling together a group of people, and we're extracting the script from volume 1 to get ready to do a TV show.
Okay. All right now.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
So again, it took on a life of its own,
Yeah.
and I'm moving out of the way and
Letting it go.
allowing God to
Mm-hmm.
do what He's going to do.
Yeah.
You
That's
know?
awesome. So I know like you've been through this, you've been doing a lot as an author. Any advice, good things, bad things, or things to avoid that you can share with other authors that are trying to figure out if they should go into this path?
Mhm. Well, yeah. The best advice that I could give someone is stop, excuse my French, BSing. Right. Right. Because that's what happens. We say we're gonna write it. We write 2 pages, then the fear sets in. Then, you stub your toe, or then, I caught a cold. Then, I got a promotion at work. Oh, well, then I got fired from my job. Or then, the dog got sick. Then, oh my God, but can I really do this? Stop,
Right.
stop
Right.
it. Just write. Well, I don't know how to do it. What do I do from here? Write.
That's right.
Well, after I get the check, write. You'll know, your spirit will tell you when it's finished. And
Mhm.
then you'll get a person like me, and you'll call on me and you'll say, hey, because I'm a deacon, I'm a chef. I mean, I'm not just an author. I have
Right.
outside stuff that I do too. My life is full.
Right.
Uh, I'm a wife, I'm a dog mom. I got grown kids that always want to throw in your face like you grown, but you always need something. But anyway, that's a whole nother story for another day.
All
But
right.
then you call somebody like me and I say, okay, well, for X amount of money, I'll edit it for you because I did all my own editing and, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
and then I get the seminar together that I'm getting ready to put on for people who want to know how to write their first book,
Oh, cool. Cool.
and, so again, believe me, I'm full. My life is very full, but I've always been that type of person that, when you find something that you love to do, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and you get to work in that field, this is something that I would do for money or without.
Oh, wow.
I love
Yeah.
to write. I love to help people. I
Mhm.
love God's people. Do I always like you jokers? No. Especially my own people. Because CP time, I don't do CP time. I don't do some of the stuff we want people to patronize us, but then, we always give them reason why they can't. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And why we can't work together. And I'm trying to change that concept. I'm
Mhm.
trying to change that narrative. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, we can work together, and yes, we can grow together, and yes, we can succeed together. But the hard conversations are the things that nobody ever wants to have.
Right.
Sometimes it's not even a hard conversation. It's
Mhm.
just somebody caring enough about you to pull you up on your stuff, you
Right.
know.
Right.
And sitting stuck on stupid will never get you success.
Mhm.
So how do you know if you couldn't be successful as an author? How do you
Right.
know that you couldn't write the book?
Right.
You're not going to know if you don't write the book.
Right. Right. You gotta write the book. Oh my goodness. Yeah. But
you
thank you
know.
so much for sharing all those details. Your book, I like I said, it's awesome. I remember you sharing some of it before when we did the virtual fair, so I don't want to give it away.
Yes, yes, yes.
But the fact that you went from this to another book, I mean, I think that's so amazing, and
hmm
that's really awesome to
hmm
see. So,
Thank
you
you.
use like this first one and you are nonstop after that.
Oh
So
no, no, can't stop, won't stop.
you
Got
can
stuff to
stop.
do. People's lives to touch. I got help.
Yeah.
Help is on the way. And
Yes.
let me just say that my intention was sharing my story, as horrendous as it might have been. And sometimes I'm like, dang, I wish this wasn't my story. I wish I didn't have to write it. I wish it wasn't as painful, but it made me the strong, loving, caring,
Wow.
nurturing individual that I am today.
Yeah.
That had I not known the depths of pain, I wouldn't know the peace and the joy and the love of finding that sweet spot and saying, but you know what? It made me a stronger woman. It made
Mhm.
me a more beautiful person because I started to heal. I
Yeah.
let go of some things. I forgave some people. And I
Right.
stepped back and I said, all right, God, use me however you will. And
Mm,
here you have it. Here I
yeah.
am. So,
And that's so important. I'm really glad that you said that after the process, the healing started. And because that's important. That's really,
hmm
really important and key. And I think people, don't realize that's you want that outcome. You want to heal. You just don't want to throw it on paper and that's that. But you want to
right.
have the healing to come as well. And
hmm
that's important to move
hmm
forward.
Yeah, because you could throw it on paper and just think it'll sit there, but it won't.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it takes a lot. First of all, you have to remember some things. You have to dredge up some things. You have to
Mhm.
kick up some feelings. You gotta, unpeel some stuff that you thought that you worked through. And once you get to chapter 17, line 50, and you start, you're like, oh shit. I mean, excuse me, oh shucks. What? what am I going to do now? Because you done kicked up this memory, and
Yeah.
you weren't even trying to write about that particular thing. And
Right.
excuse me, the next thing you know, that's what's
Coming
coming
out.
out on too.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh wait, hold up. Where did that come from? I didn't mean to share that. Yes, you did.
Mm-hmm.
That needed to be shared.
Yeah.
So, I say all of that to say that if you're not working on some healing, guess what? Memoir might not be the thing for you,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
because it's going to take you to a place, and
Yeah.
it's going to make you visualize some things that you thought healed. And yes, some of the healing might have started, but healing is never finite.
Right.
Healing is infinite.
Mm-hmm.
Until God closes these pretty browns, greens, grays, or blues, whatever color they are in your eyeballs and your head, that's when you're fully healed. You know, you can touch on some things, but the healing process is a lifetime process.
It is. It truly is. Well, thank you so much for this. It's
Mhm.
been really great.
Thank
I
you.
hope, when we put this together that it really touches, because people need to hear that. People need to really hear it. And definitely get your book. Definitely get the book. But people need to hear that is important, these important things that you talked about.
Thank you.
And I'm hoping that it will, one, heal someone, help a writer realize you need to write, like you said.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
so, those that experience grief know that, you have a book called Love
yeah.
Language of Grief out there. So you
Yes, yes,
know,
yes,
so
yes.
thank you so much for this.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
I hope everyone enjoyed our episode this evening. Want to thank Dani, author of Pretty Little Bastard Child, for joining us and discussing her book that talks about pain and forgiveness and a lot of array of topics that she honestly addressed from her personal experience, and that takes courage. And I really want to thank her for joining us. And of course, Dr. AudreyAnn Moses, she talked about her consulting and coaching company, and definitely check her out as well. But also, if you want to drop us a marketing question, you can always look on our Facebook page for Books, Blessings, and Business. And on Thursdays, drop a question in the comments. I definitely would love to answer some more questions about marketing to help those who are marketing their book and making those sales during the holidays. So, as always, you can check out more episodes of Books, Blessings, and Business by visiting Literacy Moments Magazine's website or checking us out on our YouTube channel. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, and other podcasts as well. If you have any questions and comments about the show, I would love to hear them. Send us an email, from our website, or just drop us a comment on our Facebook page. We really appreciate you talking about, any comments that you have about the show, any feedback. We really welcome that. But, thank you all for listening to Books, Blessings, and Business podcast. I am your host, Kim Oglesby, book marketing coach and founder of Literacy Moments Magazine. Remain blessed in all you do, and toodles. I hope everyone enjoyed our episode this evening. Want to thank Dani, author of Pretty Little Bastard Child, for joining us and discussing her book that talks about pain and forgiveness and a lot of array of topics that she honestly addressed from her personal experience, and that takes courage. And I really want to thank her for joining us. And of course, Dr. AudreyAnn Moses, she talked about her consulting and coaching company, and definitely check her out as well. But also, if you want to drop us a marketing question, you can always look on our Facebook page for Books, Blessings, and Business. And on Thursdays, drop a question in the comments. I definitely would love to answer some more questions about marketing to help those who are marketing their book and making those sales during the holidays. So, as always, you can check out more episodes of Books, Blessings, and Business by visiting Literacy Moments Magazine's website or checking us out on our YouTube channel. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, and other podcasts as well. If you have any questions and comments about the show, I would love to hear them. Send us an email, from our website, or just drop us a comment on our Facebook page. We really appreciate you talking about, any comments that you have about the show, any feedback. We really welcome that. But, thank you all for listening to Books, Blessings, and Business podcast. I am your host, Kim Oglesby, book marketing coach and founder of Literacy Moments magazine. Remain blessed in all you do, and toodles. I hope everyone enjoyed our episode this evening. Want to thank Dani, author of Pretty Little Bastard Child, for joining us and discussing her book that talks about pain and forgiveness and a lot of array of topics that, she honestly addressed from her personal experience. And that takes courage. And I really want to thank her for joining us. And of course, Dr. AudreyAnn Moses, she talked about her consulting and coaching company, and definitely check her out as well. But also, if you want to drop us a marketing question, you can always look on our Facebook page for Books, Blessings, and Business. And on Thursdays, drop a question in the comments. I definitely would love to answer some more questions about marketing to help those who are marketing their book and making those sales during the holidays. So, as always, you can check out more episodes of Books, Blessings, and Business by visiting Literacy Moments magazine's website or checking us out on our YouTube channel. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, and other podcasts as well. If you have any questions and comments about the show, I would love to hear them. Send us an email, from our website, or just drop us a comment on our Facebook page. We really appreciate you talking about, any comments that you have about the show, any feedback. We really welcome that. But, thank you all for listening to Books, Blessings, and Business podcast. I am your host, Kim Oglesby, book marketing coach and founder of Literacy Moments magazine. Remain blessed in all you do, and toodles.